Yo, welcome back to Spectator Sporting. I'm Zachary Roach, along with my partner in crime, Mr. Adi Wali. We got our guest in the building today. We talking Bears. We talking NFL playoffs. We got my main man, Marcus, Coach Floyd, in here representing with us. So let's get right to it. We just talked about the Bears. Let's talk about the rest of the playoffs. I mean, this is some intriguing games. There's a lot of good teams in the playoffs this year, especially in the AFC. The AFC is locked and loaded. It's so much competition over in the AFC. But I just want to know, I'm going to start with you on this one, Adi. Out of all the teams in the AFC, who's going to be in the AFC Championship Game?
Well, I got the Chiefs, no surprise there, versus the Buffalo Bills. Okay, I'm going with the Buffalo Bills.
Not mad at that.
The Buffalo Bills are the hottest team in the AFC right now. They've won 9 out of their last 10 games, and that one loss came on a Hail Mary to the Arizona Cardinals. DeAndre Hopkins gave them the unfortunate loss. But the Buffalo Bills, they beat the Seahawks, they beat the Steelers, and last week going against a Miami team that was number 1 in the NFL in points allowed. Miami need to win that game to make it to the playoffs, and 56-19 with 6 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. The Buffalo Bills are on fire, okay? And so the thing is, I think Buffalo would beat the Pittsburgh Steelers in the divisional round. I think they'll beat them. The Steelers defense is struggling without their middle linebacker, Devin Bush, and their edge rusher, Bud Dupree. Those guys are out for the season with an ACL injury. That defense is not as dominant, so I think they fall to the Bills in the divisional round. Now, the Bills' offense is the number 1 team in the NFL in third down conversion percentage and number 2 in yards in the entire league. They are hot. The man Josh Allen is killing. And so Kansas City and Buffalo did play each other in week 6. And the Buffalo Bills it was a close game. They was down only 23-17 with 4.5 minutes to go in the game. The Chiefs had the ball 3rd and 12 at their own 33-yard line, and then Magic Mahomes. He scrambles out away from the pressure and throws a 37-yard pass to Byron Pringle. Game over, okay? Now, the one weakness that the Buffalo Bills do have is their rush defense. They're the 7th worst team in the league in rushing yards allowed per play. And the Kansas City Chiefs had 245 yards rushing at Buffalo in week 6. That's too many yards. And so, but the Chiefs have a couple of injuries. Their running backs, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, the rookie, he has a high ankle sprain, and Le'Veon Bell has some knee swelling going on. So, but Andy Reid is smart. He sat his guys out week 17. They have a bye week. They're hoping those guys will be ready to go in the playoffs. And so I do have the Buffalo Bills ending their drought. They have not won a playoff game since 1995. They're going to end that drought, but they're not going to the Super Bowl. That's going to be the Kansas City Chiefs.
The last time, the last time they was close in the playoffs, wasn't it the Music City Miracle
against the Titans?
Against the Titans. That was crazy. That's the game they had Flutie starting all year. Then they decided to put Rob Johnson to start the playoff game. I remember. That's crazy. Buffalo is on fire. Hey, look, I can't not deny that. Marcus, who is going to the AFC Championship Game?
I agree with Adi that the Buffalo Bills are on fire, but there's one team who I picked at the beginning of the year that I'm sticking with, that because Adi gave the numbers about their rush defense. And if you want to play anybody, one of the best rushing teams in the NFL, it's going to be the Colts. So I have the Colts upsetting Buffalo, so they will not be there. I have the Ravens versus the Chiefs. And obviously we have Kansas City. A lot of people are down on Kansas City. They haven't covered a spread in over 6 weeks or something.
Down on a 14-2 team.
Down on a 14-2 team. I have Kansas City there. Kansas City, as you just said, have a couple weeks off. They just took week 17 off, resting their players. Mahomes, He could throw any pass. He could do anything on the field. And don't sleep on the Baltimore Ravens. The Baltimore Ravens do have to go on the road. The thing about the Baltimore Ravens, what I like about this year, they don't have the pressure.
Yeah.
They don't have the pressure. Last year, they came in the playoffs. They got the bye. They had the pressure, and they did not come through. Lamar Jackson has had 2 bad playoff games, and he's now have to show that he's here. He's a good quarterback. He's thrown touchdowns. Some people say he can't throw, but I see him throwing touchdowns all the time. This also is a team who, the only team in the NFL, I think, to average more rushing yards than passing yards. They keep you off the field, and that's why I have these 2 teams with upsets, the 5th and the 7th seed, because in the playoffs, it's who's going to run the ball and who's going to play some defense, and you keep those high-powered offenses off the field. That's the formula to make it to the Super Bowl. I have the Ravens versus the Chiefs, but unfortunately, Lamar will not be able to get there. Kansas City is just too good, and Andy Reid. So I have the Chiefs in the AFC Championship, at winning the AFC Championship.
Yeah, I actually agree with everything Marcus just said. Like I'm actually with him. I love that Buffalo and Colts game is tough. That's a very tough game to call. The reason why it's so tough is because the reason you alluded to, Buffalo's rush defense. Jonathan Taylor just had 250 yards against Jacksonville, but they're gonna run the football. The Colts are gonna run the ball. So that's. And the Colts defense, I know they didn't finish as strong as they normally do, but they've had a good defense all year. And they have one of the best offensive lines. But I like the Ravens. You think Buffalo's on fire? So is the Ravens. The Ravens are coming in scorching. They had a little rough spot, and people was like, we don't know if Lamar is ready. We don't know. And then he took off, and the whole team took off. They're running the ball. I mean, and so I like the Ravens. The Ravens are going in with, I like the Ravens versus the Chiefs as well in the AFC Championship game. And with that being said,
who's winning?
The Kansas City Chiefs. I cannot go against Mahomes until I see somebody beat them. They're, you know what? The Chiefs are the new Patriots. Until I see somebody beat them, look. I'm just gonna have to be wrong, and because I'm not gonna never pick against them. I mean, it's just. I might. You never know, but. They're loaded. They're getting rest. They're going to be back healthy when the divisional round come back around. So it's just going to be tough. But I do think it will be an epic, absolute classic AFC Championship game. I think it's going to be one of the better games that we're going to see all year. I'm calling right now. That will be a classic game because the Chiefs defense is not going to be able to stop Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore run defense.
And nobody can stop Mahomes.
Yeah, and nobody. So it's going to be a shootout. So so no love for the Titans.
No love.
They are getting overlooked. I mean, because the Titans have the Ravens' number. You know, in the playoffs, they beat them last year, and this season they beat them in overtime. Derrick Henry had that touchdown run in overtime. So the Tennessee Titans, but their defense has been looking kind of shaky.
Yeah,
the Titans.
So speaking of these teams, anybody we overlooking? What team are we overlooking? Probably a little bit. Are we overlooking?
I'm not gonna say we are overlooking, but if you look at the national media, if you look at people, 3 weeks ago. One team that we have in the AFC Championship, they were on the outside looking in.
Yep.
They needed some help 3 weeks ago. So I still say the national media, the Vegas, is looking over the Ravens. Because the Ravens, once again, don't forget, they still have one of the best defenses in the NFL.
Yep.
As I said, their running game is just amazing. They keep you off the field, and I just find it really hard, even though they're on the road. It's not like they're a passing team that have to be in a dome, have to be anywhere. They're a road team, so running and defense travels. Yep. So I think if anybody bet or go with spreads or anything, I think the Ravens is a lock for me.
Yeah. Anybody we overlooking out here?
Well, yeah, I mentioned them, the Cleveland Browns. You know, no one's. I think the matchup with the Pittsburgh Steelers. I know the Steelers are 6-point favorites, but you know what? The Steelers. They had the last 5 weeks. They was looking pretty bad. They almost lost their 4th straight game against the Colts when they was down 24-7, and they came back and won that game. They rested their starters week 17 against the Cleveland Browns and let them into the playoffs. It's kind of dangerous. I mean, you got Nick Chubb. and the other guy from the Chiefs, I'm forgetting his name. Kareem Hunt. That's a nice combination with Baker Mayfield to control the ball. Like I mentioned earlier, the Steelers are suffering some injuries on the defensive side of the ball. Big Ben hasn't really looked sharp offensively, so the Browns could pull an upset, so look out for that.
The one thing to look out for, their coach Stefanski has got COVID, so he will not be available to coach in the game. So that could be that's a huge loss right there. Yeah. So we'll see how that works out. So every team in the AFC, I mean, we could be overlooking the Steelers. I mean, we could. I mean, if you look, the Steelers started 11-0. And I know they didn't look good, so people are like not paying them no mind right now. And that's when they can come back and all of a sudden Big Ben, who struggled towards the end of the season, but kind of got it back against the Colts in that second half. So he had a great second half. So don't count the Steelers out. Right. Do not count them out. So that once again, the AFC is going. We picked the Chiefs and Ravens. You picked Buffalo against the Chiefs. Yeah. So I mean, all those picks could be right. You can make arguments for pretty much every team in the AFC except the Chiefs. The Chiefs, we all think are going to the AFC Championship game. And having that bye is huge in this new playoff format now. And it is absolutely huge.
2 seed don't mean anything.
Yeah, it don't. So, and I love it. I'm not gonna lie, the NFL got this right, putting 7 teams in the playoffs. No doubt about it. Let's talk about the NFC. The NFC is not as hard as the AFC. It seems like this year. Like this year, the AFC is like the Western Conference in the NBA, and the NFC is the East. But it's still some really good teams out here. It's still some really good players, and it's still some good matchups out here. So I'm gonna start with you on this one, Coach. Looking at the NFC teams in the playoffs, who's playing in the NFC Championship game?
In the NFC Championship game, well, back in I think it was August, I picked the New Orleans Saints. So I'm still going with the New Orleans Saints. They're looking good. Obviously, they got to get past the Chicago Bears. And it won't be easy. They've been the favorite a couple years in a row, and they've lost some heartbreakers. I think they get it together this year. But who would they be playing? There's a lot of tough teams out there, but I'm going with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I wasn't on the bandwagon earlier, but I really like the road. If they could get past the young man Chase Young and that defensive front, I think they'll get rolling. They'll have to go through Green Bay. They'll have to go to Green Bay. They showed early in the year that they could keep Aaron Rodgers off the field. So I really like their route of beating Washington Redskins, then beating Green Bay, and seeing the Saints versus the Buccaneers in an NFC Championship game. That's what I have.
Okay, say that. Hey, that could happen because Tampa Bay has really picked it up as of late. The offensive. And Tom Brady. Once again, I got to give this man credit. 43 years old, throws 40 touchdowns. That is amazing. That's incredible right there. Who's going to be in the NFC Championship game?
Well, you know what? Green Bay can't wait to get their revenge against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers because they blew them out in Week 6, all right? Yeah. So the question is, who's going to play the Green Bay Packers in the NFC Championship game? And to me, is it going to be the Seahawks or the Saints, New Orleans, or Seattle? No, it's just the Saints or the Seahawks.
No, I'm just messing with
who's going to play, go to Lambeau Field. And so the thing is, I want to know, hopefully Jamal Adams is recovering from that shoulder injury. He got hurt against the San Francisco 49ers in Week 17. Maybe he should have been sitting out in that game. And so hopefully he's ready to go. And so now the Seattle Seahawks offense has not been explosive since that great start they got to in the first half of the season when they scored over 30 points in 7 out of their first 8 games. Now, since that stretch, they only scored over 26 points once, and that was against the New York Jets. I get the New Orleans Saints going to Lambeau Field and playing against the Green Bay Packers. Green Bay did beat the New Orleans Saints in Week 3, 37-30. And so now New Orleans got to leave that dome and go up to Lambeau Field and play Green Bay. I do really respect the New Orleans Saints defense. They got some heavy hitters. They got some Pro Bowlers, top 5 defense in the league. But I don't think it's going to be enough to stop Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers is on fire. I got the Green Bay Packers going to the Super Bowl.
Yes. Woo, see, yeah, I mean, Aaron Rodgers, I mean, what a year. What a year. 48 touchdown passes, four picks? 4 picks, that is absolute. That's probably I know, like, you had Mahomes had 50 touchdowns and Manning and Brady had 50, but this might be the best QB season I don't know ever, but it's up there. To throw the ball as much as they did and have 48 touchdown passes and only 4 interceptions, that's crazy.
Amazing.
That's amazing.
I went and looked at the tape and we both picked Aaron Rodgers as MVP.
Yeah, he's MVP. He is we showed it. That's right. Yeah. We told y'all, like, hey, when they drafted Jordan Love, you knew what was gonna happen. And that's exactly what happened. So I got the Packers, of course. I had them at the beginning of the season in the NFC Championship Game. And going against, I'm gonna stick with it. I know they ain't look as good as of late, but I'm sticking with the Seahawks. I picked the Seahawks to go to the NFC Championship Game. Russell Wilson, I know it hasn't been pretty, but he's still prime time. Mm-hmm. He is still prime time. And Russell is one of those guys, when the playoffs come around, he'll be hitting everything. He'll be striking. He's a very clutch performer. And if the game is close, there's probably nobody in the NFL I trust more than Russell Wilson with the ball, trying to win the game. So I'm sticking with Seattle, but I picked Seattle to go to Super Bowl at the beginning of the season, but I got the Packers. I got to be honest. I see what I'm seeing. Like, not only just Aaron Rodgers. I mean, the defense is coming together for them now. They have one of the strongest secondaries in football, and they're like the Chiefs. You just can't make no mistakes against them. You cannot make no mistakes because they got quarterbacks that would just dice you and slice you up. Any bad move, you line up in the wrong position, they are going to take advantage, and Aaron Rodgers is on a roll. And I think this year, with all of Jordan Love, with Jordan Love, Aaron Rodgers is so motivated. He wants to show everybody that he's the best quarterback in the NFL. A lot of people say Mahomes is the best quarterback in the NFL. I think Rodgers is taking that personally upon himself, and I think the Packers and the Chiefs are going to play in the Super Bowl, and I think that's going to be a fantastic Super Bowl. So that's who I got.
Yeah, I agree. I get the Chiefs and the Packers as well.
Yeah, and you got the Saints.
Saints and the Bucks. I'm going with the Saints and the Bucks.
Yeah, you got Saints and the Bucks, and you got the Saints and the Chiefs in the Super Bowl.
Saints and the Chiefs in the Super Bowl.
Okay.
Tampa Bay, though, you know what? They could go to Super Bowl because they have. I mean, now we got to see if Evans if he's hurt.
Right.
Yeah, we got to see if he's hurt, but. Low key, Antonio Brown is starting to pick it up. He's starting to get after him and had 2 touchdowns, 145 yards in his last game. So,
and his buddy Brady helped him get his money.
Yeah, helped him get his money. So, Antonio Brown could be a major factor in the playoffs. So speaking of Tampa Bay, is anyone no chance that Washington can pull upset against Tampa Bay? It's going to be in Washington. The game is in Washington.
Yeah, I think they can. I mean, they got the D-line, you got the rookie out, the number 2 pick. What's his name?
Chase Young.
Chase Young, yeah. He said, I want time, and all that. And
he scared me with that.
Yeah. Their D-line is killer. They got John Bostic, the former Bear. He's over there with the Redskins. And so, they can get out there and make it a real ugly game, muck it up. Alex Smith is a smart quarterback. He does have the calf injury going on with him. So
they got issues.
Now, that's a problem right there. So if he's not healthy, then they don't have a chance.
They got the formula to be the Brady team, though. As far as their defense, they have the right formula. Strong fronts. You know the teams that Brady always struggle against, the Ravens, the Giants in the Super Bowl, who get pressure.
You get pressure on him, you move him around, be around his legs. He struggles in throwing that deep ball.
Yep. But like you said, the quarterback position is just so unknown. Alex Smith ain't right. They just let go of Dwayne Haskins. The other quarterback, what was his name? He played with the Panthers. Kyle Allen. Kyle Allen's not available. Yeah. So this
running back was banged up as well.
Yeah.
Gibson's been banged up as well.
Mm-hmm.
So if Alex Smith can pull this off, that's going to be an incredible feat. But I just don't see it. I don't really see it happening within. What's the other game?
You know what? I think the team. You mentioned the Bucks in Washington, and we talked about the Saints and the Bears. But I think out of the Bucks and the Saints and the Seahawks,
yeah,
I think the Seahawks are under upset alert. You know what I'm saying? I think they are. You know what I'm saying? The Rams defense is number one. They defense shut you down. They had some killers on the D.
They do.
And I can see them really just holding Seattle to field goals, getting some turnovers. The guy, the Doug Flutie guy, John Wolford out there running around and everything. And he got a game under his belt. And I can see that being. I think that's gonna be a close game. Rams, Seahawks. And the Seahawks got a tough road going. If they want to make it to the Super Bowl, they got to beat the Rams. They got to beat the Saints. They got to beat Green Bay.
I jumped off the bandwagon.
Yeah, I know. I almost did too when I saw it. I was like, ooh, boy.
They got a tough road to the Super Bowl. And the Rams, that's one team that we're overlooking. I think the national media is overlooking because Jared Goff, he broke his thumb. He may try to play this coming week, but I don't know what it.
See, that's why it's hard to take. I know the Rams defense is, but if they playing against Russell Wilson, I think he's gonna find it might not be a lot of plays, but I think it's gonna be a couple plays. Just like pretty much just what happened a couple weeks ago when the Seahawks beat the Rams. He just made some couple crucial plays. I think that's what it's gonna come down to in that game. Because I think, like you say, Ramsey, he's probably gonna guard Metcalf one-on-one. He's gonna follow him around the field. So it's their defense. If Jared Goff was playing, I can understand. But I just think Wolford. I don't know. He played good against the Cardinals, but I don't know if he's going to be able. This is a different animal right here.
Jamal Adams' injury is huge if he can play. Yeah. I think he's going to play, though. He's a tough guy. I think he's going to try to fight through it, though.
Yeah. So it's some good games.
But that was one reason I bagged off Seattle. I stuck away from them. I don't know if the Rams or Seattle, I have no clue right now who will win, but that is an upset alert.
It is.
Some of the reasons I hit on last week about watching, I got to watch a lot of Rams games this year, and McVay, he gets away from his quarterbacks. This guy was running around, I don't know, Doug Flutie, whoever, John Wolford, Doug Flutie, and he was running around, but I watched a lot of third down plays this year, whereas McVay did not trust Goff.
He didn't trust him at all.
So they're still going to be a pounded team. I don't think he's going to change his game plan. They still will be the Los Angeles Rams. It's just, we know in fourth quarter playoff time, it's the best quarterback who's going to make a play. Who's going to make a play. But if the Rams get out to get in the lead and Russ ain't cooking like he should, that's what kind of scared me to jump off the Seattle bandwagon.
No question. But like in what happened in the Arizona game when Wolford came out and threw that pick right away, if that happens against the Seahawks, that's trouble for the Rams. So no turnover. The Rams' recipe for winning that game: run the football, no turnovers. And you're right, they will have a chance in that game because their defense is just that good.
One more thing about Wolford, that was the only pick he threw in that game, right?
I think I want to say he threw another one.
Oh, he threw another one? Okay.
Yeah, I want to say he threw two.
Yeah, I was about to say, okay.
But a pick, this is the playoffs.
Yeah.
This is the playoffs. He can make a mistake against the Cardinals because Kyler Murray didn't play pretty much the entire game.
True.
So he was able, you can't do that against the Seahawks and Russell Wilson. So, all right. So I guess we got a Super Bowl. You got Saints versus Chiefs. You got
Packers Chiefs,
and I got Packers Chiefs. Yeah. So we all got the Chiefs. So anybody in the AFC, can the Chiefs be on upset alert against anybody in the AFC? I don't see it. Nobody see it.
I think if the Ravens beat the Tennessee Titans, and the Ravens could jump out to a nice lead, because the Ravens are the number one team in the NFL in rushing. Yeah. And I think if they jump out to a quick lead against the Chiefs, they can hold the lead with the ball control thing going on. And if they can get like a turnover or two, rattle them up, go up 10 plus points, and just control the ball and keep the lead, I think the Ravens got the best chance of upsetting them in AFC.
I agree, because the Ravens, like Marcus said too, got defense. They can play a little defense. Mm-hmm. I mean, they're not gonna stop the Chiefs, but they can
make some plays.
Yeah, make some plays.
Yeah, I mean, speaking of that, their defense led by cornerback Marlon Humphrey. He has 8 forced fumbles this season, which is the third most in a season in NFL history. Our guy Charles Tillman, Peanut. He got the record with 10. He's tied for the lead in NFL history. He had 10 forced fumbles in one season. But that dude, Marlon Humphrey, maybe he'll do a peanut tillman punch against the Kansas City Chiefs.
We gonna see, man. It's gonna be very interesting. Hopefully, we're all wrong about the Bears. That's the main thing.
Right.
Hopefully, we're all wrong about the Bears. But you watch a Spectator Sport. I want to thank Marcus, Coach.
We gotta make our Super Bowl picks though.
Oh, we
didn't make our Super Bowl
picks. Okay. I'm sorry. My bad. We just said who was gonna be there.
Right.
All right. So Adi, since you brought it up, who's gonna win the Super Bowl?
Okay, yeah. So Chiefs versus Green Bay. The Chiefs got a few Pro Bowls on the defense. They got the Honey Badger. He's number one amongst safeties and interceptions. They got Frank Clark, the edge rusher. Chris Jones, the defensive lineman. But it's not going to matter against Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers. But the Packers got some defensive players too. The cornerback, Jerry Alexander, Adrian Amos, and Zadarius Smith. And that's not going to matter against Patrick Mahomes. So it's going to be a State Farm Insurance Super Bowl shootout. Okay,
pretty much. If that's the truth, we gotta watch.
Oh, there's gonna be so much State Farm in there. Oh my God.
Oh man, so I'm going with the Chiefs for the same reason that Roach mentioned earlier. I'm not picking against the Chiefs. I got to see them lose to believe they're gonna lose. I'm got the Chiefs over the Green Bay Packers in the Super Bowl.
Coach, who's gonna win the Super Bowl, the Saints or the Chiefs?
I am going with, like once again, I said on this show, and I picked the Saints over the Chiefs day one, and I'm not changing that. NFL loves the storyline.
Yeah.
And Drew Brees riding away on the sunset is a great storyline. I don't know if it's going to be made up, fictional, I don't know what it is, but I got Drew Brees finding a way to muddy and New Orleans Saints defense, finding a way to muddy up the game and beating the Kansas City Chiefs. It's very hard, even though they're so good, it's very hard to repeat in the NFL for Super Bowl champions. Maybe this is a new era where it is, but I got Drew Brees riding off in the sunset with an NFL Super Bowl ring.
Wow.
Yeah, that could happen. That could happen because there's been a lot of speculation that this is Brees' last season, especially after taking that injury to the ribs.
Yeah.
I mean, it might be it for him. So that could happen. I had the Packers and Chiefs. Listen, you talk about a shootout. That game, that might be the first Super Bowl game where both teams score 50 points. I mean, it can happen. I mean, you got two outstanding, unbelievable quarterbacks in that game, and it's going to be a shootout. And I think the Packers are going to get it done this year. I think I'm picking the Packers. I know I just said earlier in the show. Yeah, that I wouldn't go, but. Listen, I love what I'm seeing from the Packers. That's the Packers, to me, are the only team that can go blow for blow with the Chiefs. If the Chiefs score in 30 seconds, the Packers can come right back and score in 30 seconds. And I just think the Packers' defense overall is better than the Chiefs. But I think it's going to be a super, super close game. It's probably going to be like 55-52.
Right. No, but one more point about why I'm picking the Chiefs over the Packers. The Chiefs' weapons are much better than the Packers' weapons. Say Valdez-Scantling, the drop against the Bears, that don't matter against the Bears. Because the Bears ain't going to do shit on offense. But you do that against the Chiefs, that could be the reason you lose the game.
Yeah, you're going to pay. I agree.
I'm going with the Chiefs over the Packers.
No, I'm making it interesting, okay? I'm going with the Packers. I'm making it interesting, okay? Okay, I'll bite the bullet if I'm wrong again. It's probably very possible, but I got the Packers. Look, Aaron Rodgers is going to cap off this MVP season with a Super Bowl. I just think that's what it's looking like. Aaron Rodgers right now, he's on a prove it, shut the F up toward, prove everybody. And that's what's going on right now. He's so calm, cool, and collective. He throwing touchdown points, just pointing at people, just
winking at him.
Yeah, just winking at him like it's so easy to him. He's just in such a groove right now. And Marcus brought up a good point about the Chiefs. Don't get me wrong, they're 14-2, so it's hard to complain about anything about a 14-2 team, but they haven't been as sharp as they normally are. I mean, the Atlanta game, they could have easily lost against the game when they clinched against Atlanta. So they haven't been particularly as sharp. Green Bay is coming into this on fire. So I got the Packers, even though the Chiefs could win too. But I like the Packers because I just think this is Aaron Rodgers' year.
It's like they were getting bored. It was like they were getting bored. They were letting teams back in the games and everything.
That could be that could be it too.
I think they probably going. I don't know. We'll see, man. They play the Ravens or the Titans. And that should be their first matchup. But you say they're gonna play the Colts. So you say the Colts gonna pull off the upset.
I think the Colts gonna pull off the upset. I think the Colts gonna pull off.
It's gonna be interesting, man.
It's gonna be interesting, man. Well, now y'all been watching. I'm sorry.
I think the AFC, anybody can win those wild card
Yeah.
games. Those wild card games. I don't think it's a lock for any of them.
Nah, you're right. It's wide open. It's wide open. But we all got the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. That's one thing we all do agree on. So who's winning? I'm the only one who. Well, nah, you pick the Saints and I pick the Packers. So as much as we talk about the AFC teams, we both pick NFC teams to win.
Knock each other out and weigh them out.
Yeah, we'll see. You've been watching Spectator Sport. I want to thank Marcus, Coach Floyd, for coming here talking about the playoffs, talking about the Bears. Shout out to my partner in crime, Mr. Adi Wally. And the next time, in between time, we out. Peace.